Community Action News with Rick Godley, CAN. Remember, when you can't, maybe together we can. Community Action News, CAN.
Rick Talk.
All right, I'm gonna tell you what I'm doing.
Yes.
I'm friends with ORVA, ORVA, the Washita Region Veterans Association. They're building the tiny houses in Arcadia,
Yes.
Bienville Parish. And Donnie Brown and his wife, they left a donation for that, to build that. And what it is, it's for veterans and their families to come live. It's not a homeless shelter per se, but it is a place to call home while they're going through a transition and keep their families intact.
Yes.
So Donnie found out about it, and obviously it moved him in such a way to make an investment there. So when my friend, the director, Sandra, she got the notification of this generous offer, she said, "Who is Donnie Taylor?" And we kind of knew Donnie in Tool City, but we didn't know Donnie Taylor. And you know,
Donnie Brown.
Okay, my bad. Yeah, Donnie Brown. So yeah, then you came. So this is an investigation into the mystery of Donnie Brown and why he did what he did, and that's why you're here. Fill in the blanks.
I'm kind of blank anyway, but that's all right. No, I was wondering, and I was surprised when you told me what Donnie had done, but I'm not surprised really, because Donnie was that kind of person. When he told you something, he meant it, and he never lied. We go all the way back to our childhood. His grandmother, Aunt Lois, his grandmother and my granddaddy were first cousins. Of course, we all grew up together. Donnie and his family moved, well, they lived in Shreveport, but Donnie moved home to Aunt Lois's, and I was going to Eastland. My mother was a teacher, and Aunt Lois called my mother and told me, said, "Mary Beth, would you mind if Donnie went to school? He's moving home, and I'll have him ready every morning." So Donnie went to Eastland too, you know. He was probably in the 3rd grade, and I was in the 5th or something like that. I think Donnie, if he was living, be 79, 78, something like that. I'm 83.
Okay.
But of course, we've known each other, and Billy, his brother was my age, and then Beulah was my sister's age. So we've all been that way a long time, you know.
I was familiar with Beulah on and off over the years, especially in the later years when she got the men's shed going and going in a huge way, so much so that on the very first anniversary of the men's shed, she decides to check out and die, but the men's shed is going strong because of her vision, inspiration, and perspiration. But I never knew that Donnie and Beulah were brother and sister.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay, so you knew Donnie and grew up with Donnie. And he was a veteran too, correct? Is that
right? He was.
What do you think?
CB.
Is CB? What else do you know?
Well, he joined the Navy and went into Seabees, and he was in Ethiopia, I think, for a year or two or something before, and he come up. They asked him to stay there, and Donnie told me, he said, "Ronald, I didn't want to stay. I'd been there a long time." He come home, and he volunteered to go to Vietnam. He said, "I wanted to serve. I wanted to go over there." And he was up and around Da Nang, up north of Da Nang. Now, Donnie went, because he was there, I think, during the Tet Offensive.
1968.
Yeah, 67, 68. Now, I was in Vietnam in 65, but he was there in 68 and all that. And then after he got out, he got into the Tool City. He had a deal at Hilly. They lived at Hilly, him and Nancy. And everybody had to go to Hilly to do business with him. Then he bought that place, that land that Tool City's on, and went in business down here. And he done real well. Donnie, he knew everything about where everything was and everybody. And I asked him later on, I'd go by there and talk with him and all that. And I said, Donnie, how long are you going to do this? He said, till the day I die. He said, I enjoy people. He knew everybody. He talked to everybody in the country because he had to order, send things to them and all that. So he did. And later on, he got sick. His doctor was Dr. Herbert, and I went to school with Dr. Herbert.
Alan Herbert, yeah.
But Donnie said, Ronald, 2 weeks ago I went to Dr. Herbert. Everything was fine. I checked out fine. He said, I woke up on Tuesday morning. I thought I had arthritis all over me. And I went to Herbert, and he sent him to Shreveport. Donnie got some kind of disease. I can't pronounce it. It's about that long, you know. And he went, they sent him to LSU Shreveport. And he stayed in ICU for days or weeks. And they finally figured out what was wrong with him. But he almost died because Nancy told me, said, Ronald, I thought he was going to die. It was the 4th of July. He said, I thought he'd never live through the 4th of July. But he did. I mean, you know, but it eventually got him. But
Right. Well, growing up with Donnie, did he have a business mindset or did he have a motivation of just wanting to help people, and that bred and blessed his success?
yes.
I mean, it's not like he knew what he was going to do, and he just did what he liked and helped people.
Well, Donnie and them, they had, a lot of people didn't have much of nothing, what I mean. He come up where, you know, but he decided to make something of himself, and he dedicated himself to doing that, and he done one heck of a job of it, you know. His uncle was Jimmy Deloney, and he worked at the processing plant, Donnie did, after he come out of the Navy. Jimmy and William Cook had a processing plant out here in Ruston. I worked there some after I got out of the Marine Corps. And then Donnie worked there, and then he went in, he could do anything, and he had an ice machine. Well, he sold ice there at the thing, and then he went kind of on his own in that Tool City. But he wanted to make something of himself because, you know, he'd come up not having hardly anything, and when he dedicated himself to it, and I imagine that's when he heard that about veterans. And Donnie made a lot of money. Now, they didn't have any children, but Nancy had a sister, Judy, and they had some kids. So I don't know really who he left all that to. And, you know, he was very private in a one way, but he and I could talk about anything in the world, you know.
Well, see, I'm not a veteran. I'm not a combat veteran. So I can't say to you, I understand, but I understand from a comrade of a brother in battle, you can talk to each other in a way that you and I can't talk about.
Yes, sir.
That's what you mean.
We would sit and talk about when he was up there above Da Nang, and they got hit one night, and he almost, well, it knocked him down. A rocket come in. He said, Ronald, the good Lord he knocked him down, and they was running for a bunker to get in, you know. But he told me about being over there and what he done, you know. And he said, I really appreciated the Marines. They were mixed in with us anyway. When I went to Vietnam, we landed with a battalion of Seabees, and they built an airstrip. I was a grunt in the infantry in the Marine Corps. And I was at Chu Lai, about 50 miles south, but they built that airstrip. And Marines and the Seabees really got along good, you know. But Donnie he loved working. Mm-hmm. He loved to work, right. You know, and he could do almost anything. He was smart. Now, I'll tell you what, he was smart. He didn't go to college, but there's a lot of people that, you know, he decided to make something of himself, and he definitely did, you know.
Yeah, he made Tool City.
Yeah.
And again, you said he was a very private person, and obviously.
Well, about his affairs.
No, I know. But at the same time, he was very generous toward this organization, which is going to go toward helping veterans.
Yes.
And so we were just trying to find out, you know, who he was, what motivated him to do that, and appreciate him and his family, which there is no family except his sister-in-law, right? Or is his brother still around?
Billy's still, yes.
Billy's still, okay.
Billy's, I think he's in Alabama, I think.
I got you. Well, that's basically the whole thing I wanted to find out. I mean,
yes, sir.
That's about it, really.
But he, you know, Donnie and Mr. Deloney had a birthday right together. Well, every year Donnie would have everybody, blacks, whoever worked at the processing plant, and we'd go up and have one heck of a barbecue. Well, Donnie would do a lot of the cooking, and we did that every 4th of July for several years, you know, because he loved to have everybody.
Right.
He could work with everybody, you know. But now, he and I got along. We never had a crossword from the time we were small, of course. Mm-hmm. He always said, Ronald, you always made me when I'd get hurt and I'd act. He said, get up, you ain't hurt. You know, but he and I really loved each other. That's how close we were.
Right.
He was just like a brother to me.
Well, does it surprise you that he left a nice sum of money for an organization, a nonprofit organization that is going to help veterans and their families? Does that surprise you?
It did in a way, but like I say, Donnie was that kind of person. He made a lot of money, and that was a good way for him, being a veteran, to, if I was rich, like I say Donnie was rich, but if I had that kind of money, I would have loved to do the same thing, because, you know, he wanted to leave something, but didn't want anybody, you know what I mean?
Oh,
he didn't brag about it. Because like you said, until you told me, I had no idea.
Well,
but that don't surprise me that he done it.
I get it.
He did it. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
I love it. Matter of fact, the thing, you know, you said you're 80. A lot of people this day, they're trying to think about their legacy. Well, the ones that leave a legacy don't think about their legacy.
Yes.
They just leave it.
Yes, sir.
You see what I mean? And Donnie left it.
Yes.
He didn't think about it. He didn't plan on doing that.
No.
He just lived it.
Yes, sir. But he was, you'd have to know him. Did you ever talk with him?
No, I didn't. I'm remiss about that. No, I did not.
Everybody that met Donnie thought a lot of him because he was straight out. He was fair. He did he treated everybody nice, you know, and all that. He was raised right.
Right.
Aunt Lois and his, you know.
He had respect for everyone.
Everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've never met him, but I mean, from what you're describing, I know that man. I know that quality, that character. That's good.
There's a lot of things that I could go back and.
No, we don't.
It was, that we had a wonderful childhood together.
Great.
We had a wonderful childhood. I used to go down and spend the night with him, and he'd come up to the house and stay with me, you know. Yes, sir.
That's good.
Yes,
That's
sir.
good. No, that's about it, Ronald. I was just
Yes, sir.
wanted to find more, and you know, just say thank you. But
Yeah.
to whomever did that, and it was Donnie.
I would love to ask you, are they building those houses?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You want me to show you?
Where now? They south of Arcadia.
Correct. Yeah. Let me shut this off, and
Yes,
I'll
yes,
show
sir.
you.
Yes.
Let's kill this.
Community Action News with Rick Godley, CAN. Remember, when you can't, maybe together we can. Community Action News, CAN.
Rick Talk.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming. Please drive carefully and arrive home safely. Good night.